My name is Wolfgang Van Halen. My band is called Mammoth WVH. We have a new album called Mammoth II coming out on August 4th. Very excited about it. I think it's sort of the sequel to our first album, but just everything kind of turned to 11, and it's really aggressive, but musically uh, and melodically dense album, and I'm just really excited for people to hear it.
Beautiful, Wolfgang. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. So, as you mentioned, Mammoth WVH do release your new album, Mammoth 2, on August the 4th. So, how you feeling about it, mate?
I'm feeling really good. We just announced our first sort of headline tour in the States at the end of the year, and been to Europe a couple times. I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to finally get out to Australia at some point, maybe next year.
Yeah. So, you touched on this a little bit in the intro, mate, but can you tell us a bit more about the album from a musical point of view and what you're going for with it?
Yeah, I think, I came into the whole recording process with a bit more confidence compared to the first one, because I think I was trying to figure out what the project was. But with this, having it already been established and been touring for the last couple of years, I think I was more certain on what it was and had more of a fun time trying to figure out how I could sort of test it and evolve it and grow it. And I think you can really hear that on the album.
And to date, you've released the singles Another Celebration at the End of the World, Like a Pastime, and Take a Bow. Now, all three songs differ musically, mate, but overall, would you say they're a good sonic representation of what to expect?
Yeah, I think it was important to kind of show the variety that the album has, while also kind of being under the same umbrella. The next single that we're going to be releasing is another sort of different taste, but simultaneously just kind of lives comfortably with all the other songs. It's a fun kind of wide breadth of tastes.
And the press release says that you set out to challenge yourself to expand the sound beyond what had already come to know you for. Like, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think on this album it's a bit heavier, and I think explores a more aggressive style of music while simultaneously maintaining that melody from the first album. And then in terms of song construction as well, I think there are certain songs that sort of challenged what was on the last album, being a lot longer and almost progressive in how they were put together. There's certain songs that are almost 7 minutes on this album, which is way different compared to the first one.
And speaking about the heavier side of things, it also says that you reference heavier material like Meshuggah and Tool. Like, how difficult was it to bring those influences into your music?
It wasn't too difficult, honestly, because I love them so much. There's a song that's in 7/4 that's very Tool-esque, or as Tool-esque as I've ever written. And then there's a Like a Pastime was inspired by polyrhythms, and there's a moment on the very first song on the album that is very kind of a double kick passage that's reminiscent of sort of Meshuggah-y type music, but within my own lens. So it's pretty fun.
Now, on the subject, bro, like there's a lot of people that listen to these podcasts that aren't actual musicians themselves. Now, the term polyrhythms comes up a bit. Like, what's the best way to explain that in music?
That's what actually I was trying to do with Like a Pastime. I was trying to teach my fiance like what a polyrhythm was, and I think the best example is that the guitar is sort of this repeating rhythm that's counting with the timing of the song, and then when the drums come in, the kick is accentuating this other rhythm on top of it. And I think that was the best I could do in terms of trying to explain what a polyrhythm, meaning multiple rhythms. It's kind of two rhythms on top of each other.
Well, I've been doing this for 25 years, mate. That's the closest anyone's ever come to making me understand it. So well done. And once again, you wrote and performed all of the songs and music yourself on this album, mate. So,
Oh, I think.
what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of doing that?
Yeah, no, it's all me in the studio. It's just a really fun thing to do. So,
Yeah. And what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of doing that, though, bro?
I think some people would say that I don't have a band in there to kind of bounce ideas off of, but I actually do in my producer. Elvis Basquet is sort of the other half, and me kind of getting that same sort of band vibe with him. So really, I guess the only disadvantage is that when I'm working on drums, I can't be thinking about the bass and guitar, or when I'm tracking, like, because like normally it's like when drums are happening, the singer can be writing lyrics and stuff, but I can't be doing four things at the same time. I just got to do them in order, but it's still very fun and rewarding.
Is that something you think you'll continue to do for the rest of your career, or do you think you'll explore the other option of writing with a band in the studio?
I have no idea. I think for right now, at least since its inception, Mammoth has been very much my musical outlet and creative outlet. So currently, it only makes sense in the way that we've been doing it. But down the line, absolutely, I could see it expanding beyond that. But for right now, I'm comfortable with where it's at, and I'm very proud of the output.
And the album was recorded at the acclaimed 5150 studio, mate. So explain how recording at a place like that influences the final product.
Uh, it's just where I feel at home. Um, it feels like my duty to be making music there because nobody else will. It's my place to do it. So it's just brings me sort of a piece that I think nowhere else could if I were recording anywhere else. It's the only place I want to record.
So we sort of touched on this a bit, mate, but how does Mammoth 2 differ from your debut self-titled album musically?
I think the big thing in comparison, because the first one I was really trying to figure out what it was. And I think coming into this second album, I was just a lot more confident, and I was able to kind of pull from more things that inspired me and excited me. And I think that's how you can also, I think the live element after touring the last 2 years really influenced it as well. And I think that's why, in comparison to the first album, the second one is a lot heavier and more aggressive. I think you can hear that with the very first single, Another Celebration. It's a lot more up tempo, even thrashy at times in the bridge. And I think overall the album was definitely a bit heavier because of that.
And the role of lead singer too, mate, like it's only new to you. I hope I got this right, but you only started that on the debut album. So have you settled into the role a bit more now, would you say?
Certainly, I think just the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Tough for me in the beginning because I'm an introverted person. It's not very my habits to be an extroverted sort of hey, look at me, front of the band sort of thing. But having forced my hand by making the album and having to sing, kind of being in that position and getting more comfortable with it over time. Yeah, I'm having a good time with it.
I think I pretty much know the answer to this one already, but I'm going to ask you, like, out of all the things that you do on the album musically, which one's your favorite?
I think drums are my
Oh,
favorite,
wow, you
actually.
surprised me then.
Yeah, I started on drums when I was 9, and I feel like I rarely get the opportunity to play drums anymore. So having the option to record drums, I think, is one of the reasons why I still love playing everything, because drums are just so fun for me.
And as you said earlier too, you're starting on a global tour to promote the album later on this year. So what can fans expect from those shows?
Uh, Given that we just announced our very first sort of headline run of shows, I think now that we have two albums, I think we'll finally be able to have a long full set of all of our material rather than doing the occasional cover or something like that. So I'm really excited to start playing a lot of the new music. I think people are going to enjoy it because the songs that we've played so far from the new album have been getting really good responses live. So I'm really excited for people to hear the rest of it.
And Australia is definitely in your plans for next year at some stage, are we?
Absolutely, man. I've been just dying to get out there in Australia. So I think it's worth finally trying to figure out how to get out there so we can go do the whole Pan Pacific run and everything. That'd be really fun.
Very cool. So on the subject of your live band, mate, introduce us to the other players in the band.
Yeah. Garrett Whitlock is on drums. I have Frank Sidoris and John Jordan on guitars, as well as myself and singing, and Ronnie Ficcaro on the bass. They're just a wonderful group of dudes, and we have such a great time. We're just a touring family, if you will.
And how much liberty, I guess, have they got? Like you've written and done all these songs yourself on the album. So when it comes to playing them live, do you let them throw their own little sprinkle on the magic on them? What do you like them done sort of the way?
Oh yeah, no, of course. I mean, as long as they're playing the song, like that's okay. But it's important for them to, inject themselves into it and be able to, because the live thing it's a different thing compared to the album. And I think it should be. Yeah, they're doing perfectly.
Oh. So, and of course, mate, you played as bass player with Van Halen and your dad from 2006 to 2020. So, what lessons from that period of your life that you learned musically did you take into your own project, Mammoth WVH?
Yeah, I think over the years and every sort of operation that I've witnessed from being in Van Halen to even touring now with a bunch of bands, it's just I feel like you just easily learn what not to do and what to do and little things that you kind of take from each experience and kind of form your own thing. I think it's important with Mammoth that we've formed this kind of important core of people that sort of keep everything clean from the out as it heads to more people. And basically it's just what I've learned from my time in Van Halen is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. and, and that you can just get along and make good music and tour and have fun doing it. There doesn't need to be any any crap in the way that gets in the way of that.
Very good, mate. Well, that's all I've got for you, Wolfgang. Thanks very much for your time, mate. Your new album, Mammoth II, is out on August the 4th. And what I've heard from it, it's a cracker. You are right, mate. There's a lot of different things going on there musically, it's a big step up, mate. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, man. Make sure you get some sleep.
I will, mate. Before